Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. Here with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
And Aaron, we've got a very, very special guest on tonight, someone that knows more than both of us combined. We've got Nick at FPL Rossoneri. Nick, lovely to put a face to the name. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really good. Super excited to finally talk to you guys, like face to face. We've been chatting to each other like the whole season, I guess, on Twitter and stuff. And then super excited to chat Champions League fantasy.
And I'm guessing you're in a better mood than if we'd been doing this a couple of weeks ago with AC Milan winning the title. We've got the glory hunters on the podcast now.
Champione.
Yeah, you were telling me that you were nice and drunk for that, Nick. What were your celebrations?
Oh, it was pretty insane because I think I was actually trying to find out a pub where I can actually go and watch the game with some Italians, but from some weird reason. So I live in Berlin, Germany, and so you'd think there'd be some Italians in Berlin, right? But there weren't none. So I put out a small post on Twitter and stuff, and to my luck, I had a random Italian guy message me. He had a projector and stuff in his house, and we caught up with some Italians and stuff there, and watched it together, cried and cheered on the Rossoneri together. So it was great. It was a bit anticlimactic because it was very calm. Like we scored like the early goal, and we had the Liverpool and City game on another TV. I was crazy. We are going back and front on that, and then usually Milan doesn't do calm. We always have to have that crazy end to the season. So super excited.
I was going to say it was literally took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say it's a very calm last day, and it kicked off an hour later, didn't it? Is that right? Did it kick? I'm sure it kicked off an hour later than the Premier League games.
Yeah.
I caught the second half after the Premier League games had
kicked.
And the scenes were amazing. Aaron, what did you do? Do you treat yourself to a bowl of pasta or something like that? You don't drink, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, I did that and then played Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, get some murdering done.
Just to be full Italiano for an afternoon.
Is that what they do, is it? Now, we have Nick on tonight for a very, very special reason. But first of all, Nick, why don't you tell us who you are, what you do?
Yeah. So hi guys, happy to be here. On Twitter, I think you can find me at FPL Rossoneri Nick. Professionally, I am a marketing manager at OneFootball in Germany. You guys, I think people must have heard of OneFootball as an app. And
we use this. We often we do not get sponsored by them, which I think we say every time we mention them. Then Aaron gives a little wink to the camera,
which you can't see on the audio podcast.
Hopefully next season. You never say never. So I think I live in Berlin, which is really cool. You get to see a lot of mixture of diverse people here, and I think in my free time I do also write differential articles for All About FPL, focusing on UCL fantasy. You guys might have come across some of them. And
definitely I personally read your differential articles, and we're in a group chat that hasn't been used, I think, since November for All About FPL.
It was all the hype.
Set up the Champions League this year.
Yeah. But hopefully, I think moving forward, they're going to focus more on content on the UCL fantasy side. So we have the likes of FPL reactions, Lewis, and so we'll be focusing on that as well. So exciting times ahead.
Fantastic. And how is your general rank? How's your general season gone this year for the Champions League, for the fantasy game?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't start off well. I had a terrible match day one. I had, I think, close to 51 points. And eventually, so I had to, pull the trigger on Limitless. So I played my Limitless. I usually anyways play my Limitless and Wildcard in the group stages because there's a lot more opportunities there. So played my Limitless in match day 2 and Wildcard after, and then sort of set up towards knockouts and later match days. I think luckily, I mean, after I think the last match day, I was lucky enough to captain Karim Benzema, and my OR was above the top 1K, but it's stuck back into like I'm currently ranked 748 in the world.
Oh, my heart
And
bleeds for you, Nick. My
yeah,
heart
yeah,
bleeds for you. We'll
yeah.
get a little violin out. Only in the top 1,000.
And I'm actually fourth in Germany and fourth in the Milan fan league as well. So that's pretty cool. It's been a really good season.
Aaron, where are you in the Milan fan league?
105th.
Oh, okay, cool. You're catching up. Come on, you can get that.
So
I did better
what
in
were
the
your goals
Atalanta
for
fan
example?
league. Sorry, I did better in the Atalanta fan league when AC Milan weren't in the Champions League, but
Yeah,
letting my side down.
They aren't in it next year, or the Atlanta had a bit of a disastrous season.
Yeah, they finished poorly, and I don't think they've qualified for Europe
At all.
That's a shame. I love seeing them in there, and I think they're
Yeah.
responsible for so many changes in Serie A because it was known as a bit of a boring league, a bit of a tactical league, and I think other managers have seen what Gasperini's managed to do there and how exciting they are with occasionally some maybe lesser players or maybe players coming to the end of their career. I mean, Ilicic and Gomez are not young players at all, and yet seeing how they were able to be bold and achieve everything. Inter Milan definitely sort of moved into that kind of offensive 3-4-3 opposed to a 5-3-2 or 5-3-3 or 5-3-2, yeah, however you want to look at it. 12 men, that would have helped them. And then obviously AC Milan now have went a bit gung-ho and they've decided to play an attacking brand of football, trying to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool in the group stages. So I think that league owes a lot to Gasperini, and it's a bit sad that he's not there anymore.
There's there's a stat that came out that there was more goals, I think 20 more goals in Serie A this season than there were in the Premier League.
Wow. Yeah. It doesn't... When you watch, or to be fair, One Football app, sponsor us, when you get the scores through come from One Football app and the games are 4-3 and 5-4 in just utter madness, Fiorentina, they're a bipolar team. Crazy their score lines. It's hard to see.
Yeah, you can add Sassuolo to it. They are a pretty crazy team as well. You know, you never know when Sassuolo show up when they don't, and all their games are like, I watch a lot of Serie A, obviously, and Sassuolo, like especially with the guys like Scamacca and Berardi. Berardi ended the season in Serie A with the most assists, and I think he was third on the goal score list. So top for goal contribution, basically. So really cool. A lot of goals there.
So it's a league that I think people should watch. It's more difficult to watch in this country. It's not on mainstream TV. You've got to find other channels. But it is there. It is there. Now, Nick, the reason we've got you on, as we mentioned, we've been running the Main Event Champions League, which was a format that we started beginning with the help of Abdul. Abdul, thank you so much if you are watching this. We couldn't have done it without you at all. You've been an absolute hero. So basically, we wanted to set up a format that the game doesn't allow, and that is to create an actual 32-team Champions League. We wanted content creators, and we wanted people that had historically finished really high, people like Tora, Kevin Wolf. We had last year's number 1, Viali, in there. So you were obviously a part of that, Nick. I think you were quite highly ranked. Were you number 1 seed, were you?
No. I was I think pot 2 or something. Like I was not in pot 1. Yeah. So
we've got a pot 2 to the final, and you're up against the podcast's very own Nathan, who couldn't make it tonight, who I think was a pot 3. So that's really interesting. We've got a pot 2 and a pot 3. And you are in the final. Now, there was a bit of a journey getting here. I think many of us had written you off in the semi-final. Yeah. So for anyone that isn't aware, you were up against Steve Bird, who was absolutely brilliant. Follow him on Twitter. He's so funny, really good person. But he was giving you one in that first leg. You didn't do too well, and I think he did slightly above average. How were you feeling going into the second leg, and did you do anything to try and overcome the deficit?
It was pretty nervous because I think after the first leg, I scored around 71 points, and smashed it with around 80, 83 points or something. Like I was 13 points behind Steve. As looking at his team, he had, I think he didn't have Mahrez, and he had Foden instead for some reason. And I think what happened and what sort of went in my favor was, I think Steve did not. I think he moved out Rodrigo in the second leg, and yes, I think he moved out Rodrigo for a cheapie, and for me, I think Benzema captain and just delivered, and I think he had Foden captain or something,
I think he did have Foden captain, and my overriding thought was it was the Grealish miss.
Yeah.
Because it nearly fell to Ford, and if that goes in, I mean, he's well won. But also, if that just goes in, then maybe it doesn't go to extra time. Benzema doesn't get the penalty. Your captain wins the penalty, scores the penalty, doubles everything. It's like such fine margins.
It was really. I think I messaged him after the game and stuff, and it was pretty cool. Like he was very sporting and stuff, and like he cheered me on for the finals.
Yeah, you see, that's weird because he messaged me saying, "I hate that Nick guy. Who the hell does he think he is?" Really bizarre. He was calling you some horrible names.
Yeah.
So no, Steve's a really good guy, to be fair. And like I say, you're up against Nathan. Nathan has sent us a draft in. Aaron, I don't know if you've got it ready at any point to put up, or if we've just got to read the names out that Nathan's got. So we'll post up what he's thinking about. But how are you going to approach the final? Because in my mind, obviously you're great at looking at differentials. I think you're particularly great at looking at individual players. The way that I've been trying to look at things is more from a formation perspective. What's the template formation? I personally think it's going to be 3-4-3. I don't know what you think. Is that what you think?
I think from what I've seen, I actually looked at some numbers of previous meetings of Liverpool and Real Madrid, right? And lately, all of them have had, like, both teams have conceded, and it's like 3-1, 3-1 again, 1-0, and I think, because there was a trend, this was sort of a stat I wanted to reveal later on.
But you can reveal it later on if you like. You don't have to.
Okay.
You save it for whatever you like, Nick.
Cool. No, I really feel, I think both teams will score. So I think for me, having three defenders at the back is absolutely fine. I think putting all your budget into your attackers, like, having your, Luis Diaz's, Mane's, Salah's, Karim Benzema, obviously, if you don't have him, and then that's where the focus should be. And so I think 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 is what I'm looking at currently.
My gut instinct was 3-5-2 a few weeks ago, and then I sort of looked and thought, are there actually that many midfielders that I want? When you look at the two teams that have came through, because I think I was expecting more Man City. So I think if Man City had have went through, then 3-5-2 would have been the better play. But with what we've got, I think for me, in terms of template, you're looking at Vinicius Junior, Benzema, and then whichever Liverpool forward starts between Jota and Diaz. You're then looking at four midfield, Mane, Salah, Modric, and another. I think a lot of us have got Fabinho in there. Maybe we want him for ball recoveries. I think that fourth spot is where you could come in really, really handy. Until everyone watches this, and then we all have the same. With your defense, and this is another place where I've been looking. I've seen people in the past. I think Fantasy Football Ed did this last year, where he just shoved all his eggs in one defensive basket, thinking, it's not going to be 0-0. One team might keep a clean sheet. I'm either going to get it all right or all wrong. Whereas I myself, when I think sort of 2-2 or 2-3, I can't remember what my formation. I think I played one up front, so I would have had four at the back at least. Do you have any thoughts on the best way to approach that?
I think ideally, like, I sort of am a manager who's very, like, I like to hedge my bets, in the sense that I want to have, obviously I want to have Liverpool defenders, but I also want to have some Real Madrid defenders, especially the likes of Militao and Alaba, if he's going to play, and if he's in the lineup, because I think Militao has when I checked 67 ball recoveries throughout the Champions League so far, and I think punting on him, maybe a cross, a goal from a header, something like that. You never know with these finals. They can be edgy, and then goals can come from all over the place in a way. So that's something I'm looking at, and that's again, I think I might as well tell you the stat anyway. So I think in the last 3 Champions League finals, right? If you've completely gone, full on one team, especially in defense. So I think it was 2018 or 19 was Liverpool who played Tottenham and they kept a clean sheet. Bayern played PSG in the next one and Bayern kept a clean sheet. And in the last one, I think it was Chelsea who kept the clean sheet versus Man City, right? So and last year I learned that like I put all my eggs in the Man City basket, and I had all those Man City defenders and midfielders, and I lost a lot of rank. I was going to finish high, and I lost a lot of rank because of that. And so that's a learning I did from last year, that this could go well. Like if you really think that one of the teams can keep a clean sheet, and but I really don't think that given the performances I've seen from both teams are very attacking. You have Benzema just needs a penalty, and he'll do another Panenka, and then that's the clean sheet gone, right? So I think I would ideally look at having obviously Trent, Robbo, then keeper wise I think I'm leaning towards Courtois, because Courtois has the potential of getting more saves, and I think when I check the numbers, I think Courtois has definitely 13 or 14 saves more than Alisson. Alisson doesn't get saves. So if I expect in my head that both teams are going to score, I would rather have the guy who gets more saves, in turn getting more points from the goalkeeper. So that's something I'm looking at. Aaron.
So with that, do you not think that is because like Liverpool's run to the final compared to Real Madrid's run to the final? So Real Madrid have definitely had it harder. PSG, Man City. There's another team there I can't think of. Chelsea. Compared to Liverpool's. Do you not think that that's the thing? Because I was actually thinking the opposite. So I think this is interesting. I was going to have Alisson because of the way that he's been playing in the recent cup finals. Obviously, I think I saw that Liverpool, they never beat any of the top 4, but they drew all 6 games against the top 4, with a lot of them having clean sheets. And then the recent FA Cup final against Chelsea, he made a lot of saves and it was 0-0. So I was thinking Alisson for the save points. So I just interested to get your thoughts on that.
But I think for me, having Liverpool defenders already like Trent and Van Dijk or Konate or Robbo and stuff is enough to sort of cover. I don't think Alisson would get more than, let's say, 6 or 7 points, right? But I think I think I was looking at some numbers. Courtois even saved a penalty or something in the group stages and got man of the match as well. So that's +3 for Courtois as well. So I think overall, it's my opinion, and I think I'm just leaning towards Courtois, and that's something. And I think I'd rather have the Liverpool position for an attacker rather than a goalkeeper, right? So that's also, yeah.
I think looking at defense and goalkeeper, for me personally, I think it's sort of best to try and look at it as one. And before you put players in wherever you like them, it's answer the question. First of all, what formation are you planning on playing? So I think that, Aaron, do you know what formation you're planning on playing? Just before I go on,
I'm looking at 3-4-3. A lot of F's in there, so that's not good for my speech impediment.
So we all agree we're going 3 at the back by the looks of it. Yep. So we've got 4 defenders if we include the goalkeeper. So the first question we need to think of is, what's the configuration? Are we going 4-0? This is players for teams. So 4 Liverpool, 0 Real Madrid, 4 Real Madrid, 0 Liverpool for the psychopaths. Are we going 3-1? Are we going 2-2? And then from there, I think it's about, okay, how do I maximize? I think there is so little difference in Courtois and Alisson that if you don't have the sub or the transfer, it's not really worth it. If you've got a luxury one, then I think both your opinions are valid, and it's just go with your gut. Where I'm thinking is, if you were to edge your bets, as you're saying, Nick. I think it makes more sense for you to go Courtois because I think Liverpool's defenders offer more going forward. The centre-backs can score. They have been scoring. The wing-backs can score. They can assist. They can do so much. Whereas when I look at Real Madrid's team, I think Carvajal's, maybe can get an assist. Ferland Mendy can maybe get an assist. David Alaba's on free kicks. I mean, how often do they go in? Militao, ball recoveries, but how often does he score? Whereas when you compare Matip, who scored a couple in the last few weeks, Robertson, who scored at the weekend, if anything, Trent's the one that you're thinking, should I really have him? Because he's not done anything for 10 weeks. And then you know that if you take him out, he's going to be the one that does. They're on the set pieces for corners, for free kicks. So I think that having Liverpool defenders, if you are looking to edgy bets, is the smarter choice with Courtois and goal. But if you maybe just think you want to go down Ed's route last year, I think it was Ed. If it's not Ed, you're getting all the credit, Ed. If you're wanting 4 defenders, that includes your goalkeeper, from the same team, then you've just got to pick which one you want to go with. I'd personally go with Liverpool again because the defenders offer more attacking threat. So I think for me, it just depends on what sort of mix you want your defense to look like, because that's where I think a lot of differentials are going to come from. I'm excited to see what players you've came up with, Nick, as individuals. But I think a lot of differentials are going to come from the captaincy picks and from what the configuration of just the team that we have in defence. And that's why I'm looking at just having Liverpool defenders, because I'm outside the top 1K at the minute. I want to finish inside the top 1K. I don't know what position I'm, like 1,500 or something like that. So I want to finish inside then. I think that's a good way to gain rank. I am with you, Nick. I don't think either of them are going to keep clean sheets anyway, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah. But then I feel like, as you said, I completely agree, Dan, that you're saying that Liverpool defenders have more attacking potential, which is completely true. I mean, even Konate got a couple of goals in the last 2 games as well, right? Like, so. But I feel Konate is going to start over Matip because I think Klopp, I mean, even though Matip has put in some really good performances recently, I think Klopp prefers Konate's sort of physical strength and he's very aggressive on the ball and stuff. And so I feel Konate and Van Dijk, if he's fit enough, that's going to be the centre back pairing. And obviously, I think I agree to what you're saying in the sense that. Real Madrid, when I look at it, Militao doesn't feel like he's going to score ever. Alaba, maybe a free kick here and there, something like that. Mendy is very defensive. Lucky enough, you get an assist. Carvajal, I would not go there.
Yeah. So, I've owned Carvajal once this season and he did the business for me. He got a cheat and an assist. And then I had him the next week and he did dreadfully. I was like, right, I've got my points. I'll run away.
It's funny because I own Nacho. Like he was 5 million or something. Nacho Fernandez, I think.
Yeah.
The Real Madrid second option keeper or something, and he didn't do anything at all. And I was like, why did I get him in the first place? And it's like, yeah. So maybe Courtois is the only option. Yeah. You guys have probably convinced me.
I think if you were to, is that the split that you're looking for, a 3 and 1? Is that what you're thinking at the minute?
Yeah, 3 and 1.
I think I'd be the one.
Yeah. It was between 2 and 2. Like Militao at the beginning of the podcast, I was like 2 and 2. Like if this is the question, 2 defenders from Liverpool, like Trent and VVD or Konate. I don't have Robbo at the moment, so that's something I'm looking at. He's been really good. I saw the last game versus Wolves, and he got a goal as well. I think because everybody talks about Trent so much and he's so expensive, he's been overshadowed in a way. I mean, a lot of people in FPL as well, like they double up on Liverpool defense, and then it eventually works out, right? So maybe that's the way forward, and I'll probably think about it, closer to the final on Saturday.
Aaron, how do you think you're going to go for your defense, for your makeup? You've got your goalkeeper and 3 defenders if you're playing 3-4-3. What's your makeup?
Currently, I've got all Liverpool for mine. One is because obviously I haven't done as well as both of you, so my budget's not a huge thing anymore. But like Allison was cheaper, so I got him in earlier in the year. So at the minute it's Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk, Allison. I'm gonna try and focus. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to go because I see Allison making more saves. I don't see the clean sheets, but I see Van Dijk getting a lot of ball recoveries personally because he's playing on the left centre back. And I think either, depending on who they have as the right winger, whether that's Rodrigo, Asensio, or Valverde, I still think that the left side are probably going to make more ball recoveries. Even though Real Madrid will attack down more the left because Vinicius versus Trent. I'm excited for that battle.
Yeah, round 2, isn't it? That because you made him look like a mug last time.
So I'm very excited for that. And Vinicius has gotten so much better. So and we'll see what Trent's defensive capabilities are truly like. Because I can just see it now. Trent up the field, Vinicius on the halfway line. Ping over, and that's probably why Konate will be in because I don't think Matip would be able to catch up with Vinicius. But I've got Van Dijk in for ball recoveries more so than the others.
I have a question for Adam though. If you had a choice, would you go Van Dijk over Robbo? Like, I think isn't Van Dijk a bit right?
No, I would definitely go Robertson. Scored more recently. It always seems to be the other centre-back that scores over Van Dijk recently. Now that I've said that, Van Dijk hat-trick coming up. But no, definitely Robertson seems to be scoring more and he's on corners. He just seems to be definitely more of a threat recently. So I'd probably go Robertson over Van Dijk.
Cool. I think I have to prioritize getting in Robbo than Robertson. So I don't have Robertson at the moment and I have not looked at Nathan's team as well. So from that perspective, I need to sort of see if he's already got Robertson and stuff. And
see if I've got Nathan's team. I'll get that in front of me. We'll move on to midfield.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts here, Nick? What little nuggets of insight have you got for us?
I think midfield is pretty straightforward in the sense like if you have to have, I mean, budget's not an issue anymore. Then there's no more City, there's no more Bayern, so I'm pretty sure you can get anyone you want in the game. So definitely double up on Salah and Mane. That's for sure. Then I really like Modric, and I don't have him yet, but I really feel Luka Modric is a big game player. He's done well in terms of ball recoveries as well. I was checking. He has 2 player of the matches. He has close to 37 ball recoveries as well. And on top of that, he can get an assist like the one he did like last time around, and he could easily get a goal as well. So I really like, and he's very, what's he, 8.5, 8.6 or something price wise, right? It's not that expensive.
I think
8.6. So he's really cool. I already have Fabinho. I think it's a toss up between Fabinho and Casemiro, both the Brazilians for both the ball recovery merchants, right? I used to love Casemiro in previous season. He always used to get 4, 5, 6 points just from ball recoveries, and that's a sort of a safe pick, and you are assured no matter what the outcome of the game, you always have those 5 points, 6 points. So that's where I'm looking at.
I think Casemiro's been poor for the game this year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been amazing in real life either. I think he's been all right. I'm not Ancelotti. If I was, I think I'd play Camavinga. I think when he's came on, he's had so much energy, so positive, despite being, I mean, he is a holding midfielder, but he kind of plays holding midfield a bit like Kante does, although the frames couldn't be any more different. The way that he's more than happy to carry the ball, he pushes the rest of the team up. I think he'd be a lot more positive pick. And that's why I don't think I'd go Casemiro. I think if the game's tight or they're losing, I think Casemiro could be one of the players to come off for Camavinga. And we also so two things. First of all, Casemiro should have been sent off in the last fixture.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyone that's got him is playing with fire. But also, this game could go to extra time, which is an interesting point when we get to the forwards, I think, more than the midfielders. But if Casemiro starts, he might get booked. Gets to 75, 80 minutes. Ancelotti's like, right, you're off. Camavinga comes on. And then if the game's a draw or if they're losing by one, they get back to draw, goes to extra time. And you're getting 40 minutes out of him, but against more tired legs, when Liverpool must be knackered by the end of this season with the amount of games they've played. They've just had the FA Cup. They've just lost the league. So I think my advice would be to avoid Casemiro. He's going to score now. Now that I've given that advice, it'll be like, Daniel, why did I ever listen to you? He's just scored a brace of headers.
With the amount of players that we've jinxed, this is going to be like an 8-8 draw.
Yeah.
All defenders scoring.
Yeah.
Carvajal's getting a brace, I'm telling you.
I have a question for Dan. Like, I think I was just looking at numbers in terms of ownership, right? Casemiro's only 10% owned. Fabinho's 12% owned. Mane, Modric are approximately 13 and 19% owned. What are your thoughts about Toni Kroos? I mean, that you just mentioned that this game could easily go into extra time and stuff, and I feel if that is the case, Ancelotti, like Toni Kroos is on the chopping block instantly. Like, he's the one. I mean, even in the last City game as well, he was taken off immediately. So I mean, I like Kroos as a player, like as a football player, but maybe not probably for like fantasy, right?
Yeah, I agree. I've just had a nightmare here, lads. Live on. Oh my god! I was playing around with my transfers. I was just playing around, and I thought I was on a different screen. And I pressed confirm transfers.
Oh no! Really? How many? Wow!
Oh, you took
Thankfully, I made shit. How many did I make? 4.
Oh no!
I've got 1 left to save myself with.
Oh, are you
So
serious?
I'll tell you what they are. So yeah, I was just going back to look at differential percentages with Nick talking about percentages. Thinking, oh, where can I look? So I brought in Ferland Mendy for Cancelo.
Oh no!
No way!
I brought in Luka Modric, and I brought in Sadio Mane, and I brought in Luis Diaz.
Okay, that's
so it's not awful. If Jota starts, that's going to be real interesting.
Yeah,
I've got 1 transfer left to save. Like if I feel I need to make it,
flying.
Like, 1 transfer, and I've got loads in the bank.
And it might be Diaz to Jota.
I've got 4.3 million in the bank.
It's funny because this is so unlike Dan, right? Like, I remember last season, like, he was one of the few people who had the minimal forward before the finals and before the teams updated, so that you have a cheap forward so you can put all the money in. I remember you doing that. Yeah, and it's so unlike you, mate. Like, oh wow. It
was for the benefit of this one, thinking, oh, what moves are you thinking of making? So I just made some changes, and I was looking at Nathan's team on my phone, and then I've scrolled up, and it's went on to my internet, and I'm thinking, oh, is that a screenshot or something? So I just went to click it to like move it up. No, it was the internet.
Wow.
So that is really, really fun. Anyway, let's have a look at.
I mean, my question is, did you take out anybody who's going to play? I mean,
no. Thank goodness, I've taken out De Bruyne, Mahrez, Jesus, and Cancelo. So I've gotten lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
I think Mendy is the only problem, like only bad choice. You'd have you'll have all the other players in a way, right? So Jeez, that was proper entertainment, right? You won't get this anywhere else. Right? You tune into the main event podcast. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that it wasn't ridiculous. Although I think anyone watching might have wished that it was. In terms of percentages, I think the one of the outstanding outside picks is Jordan Henderson at 7% owned. Just because he's the type of guy that'll get a goal when no one else does. Like, he's just one of those against the grain. I remember when everyone was joking in one of our groups saying, "Oh, watch Jordan Henderson now score," and he got the own goal. And I think for about 3 or 4 minutes, we all thought it was Jordan Henderson's goal. He's just that sort of git in the final. Liverpool win 1-0 or they draw 1-1, goes to a pens. No one gets a clean sheet and he nabs a goal or something horrible. But you're right with Tony Kroos. I think he is always first on the chopping block, despite his immense quality. And I think that makes him not a great pick. It is super differential, though. I think we all need to be having at least one differential, whether that's a player or some system. That's, you want to go 5 at the back or something crazy. Even 4 at the back, I think will be differential. I think he fits into that realm. I don't think it's an awful idea, but it's not one for me.
Yeah. What about Thiago? Is he injured? I was going
to bring this up because I had a quick look at injuries. Fabinho is still not training with the team, but apparently he will by tomorrow. Thiago, apparently it's an Achilles injury, not a rupture, thankfully. But he's still been called up to the Spanish squad. So it's just a race against time. He's probably not going to train all week. But with someone with Thiago's quality, he probably doesn't need to. But in terms of that, Fabinho and Thiago are like kind of race against time. And on that, if they don't make it, I think their replacements, whoever they are, it gives the advantage to Real Madrid's midfield, definitely. Modric and stuff would definitely take advantage of that. But if they don't make it, I think like people like Curtis Jones and stuff become a very big differential. I think they'll make it. I think they'll be fine. But it's just in case. I think Curtis Jones is probably going to be the person, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Keita, but I'd probably prefer Jones.
Yeah,
I think Naby Keita would play. I don't think he's very good at all.
Yeah. I know one thing. Dan's not going to waste his remaining transfer on Keita or Curtis Jones for sure.
Yeah, just rub salt in the wounds already, Nick. No, but it's only been 10 minutes. I will not be wasting my transfer on Naby Keita in the slightest.
If anything, if either of them don't make it, you'd probably prioritize a Real Madrid midfielder. It'd probably make you more likely to go for Modric, or maybe even Casemiro, knowing that there's a player with less quality on the ball that he has the potential to nick the ball off them. I think a big thing about midfield as well is that Liverpool can flood midfield and they're very, very quick in midfield. And so I think with the age of the Madrid midfielders, and we saw that was with Man City as well, all of the subs were midfielders. So Ceballos came on, and we had Camavinga come on. So I think most of Real Madrid's substitutions will be midfield to try and keep up with Liverpool's pace. And I think that is, it's almost like any player you choose, like Modric and stuff, they're at risk of not playing the full 90, especially if it does go to extra time. So I think that's what I think is a pro for doing the 3-4-3, choosing the forwards probably over the midfielders, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for me it's completely very similar views. I think you obviously have the double Liverpool attack in Salah and Mane, of course, out of 5 slots. I think for me, I just looked at my team. I have Mahrez and KDB. and I already have Fabinho, Mane, and Salah. So I just need to change maybe one of them and use the funds to get somebody like Luis Diaz up front. So I still have Goncalo Ramos, right? Like he was a savior for me, like in one of the match days, getting a goal and stuff, and so I still have him. And I think this is the way to go. I think punting on one of the Madrid mids is it. I think two is a bit overkill, and I feel having three of the midfielders from Liverpool is the way to go. Sort of 3-1 split in a way, in a 4 that is. So
got it. I'm in agreement with you, and if I wasn't, it's tough now anyway. Aaron, how are you feeling about your 4? What are you feeling the same way? 3 and 1? Or are you going to go 2 and 2?
At the minute, just looking at my team, I've got Casemiro already. I've got Salah, Fabinho, and they're the only players I've got. So Mane is definitely coming in. I think I don't know, because I've just had a look at my team and I've realized that I've got Konate in there as well, because I thought they would keep a clean sheet against Villarreal in the last match.
Yeah.
So I've already got a back 4 of Liverpool players. So that's tough in terms of selection. That has really messed me over. So I might have to transfer a Liverpool player out or go with Courtois. So all these fun realizations live on the podcast. But Mane has to come in, and I'll have to either transfer out Konate or Alisson to afford Luis Diaz up front.
You'll probably have to go Alisson, right? No.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go with Courtois. Even though I've just said I was going to go Alisson.
Yep.
Exactly.
Butler, he's making it up by the way. Absolutely making that. None of that's true. Whatever he's just said, none of that is he's just had to fabricate something to track back on what he said earlier. Don't trust Aaron.
He eventually agreed with me,
Yeah, you convinced me.
Any
other differentials for this?
It's very slim pickings. I looked at like Thiago was the last of them. Like Thiago, Curtis Jones is a bit too much, It's just scraping the barrel.
I think
35-yarder.
So I think a potential, because I was talking to Dan in the last preview, and I said substitutes could play a role, and we were talking about the Jota DS situation.
You're taking the words right out of my mouth here, Aaron.
Yeah.
So substitutes could come on. You could call me crazy, and I did do a crazy one last time. But what do you think of James Milner?
You haven't taken the words right out of my mouth, Aaron.
1%. He's most likely to come on, especially if it starts to head towards a penalty shootout.
For sure.
And he's on pens, isn't he? He's ahead of Salah.
Is it? I was thinking that. Like
if Milner's on the pitch, he is the penalty taker.
Okay.
Liverpool fans, correct us ASAP.
Yeah. I mean, like if you take out Milner, it's Salah and then Fabinho, right? That's why having Fabinho as well makes sense, because I think it was last time like Salah was not on the pitch and Fabinho took the penalty or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I mean, having Fabinho is good, but Milner, I mean, again, would you waste one of your precious transfers?
My only precious transfer, Nick.
Yeah.
On Milner.
On right. James Milner. I mean, I like the guy as a footballer, but.
But just as a differential pick, I thought that would be a good shout. I don't know, 1%.
Aaron, I think it is a good shout, and what I've been thinking of is how are you possibly going to get differentials? They're so scarce in the final, especially when everything just seems so template. And we've got to look at the very real possibility of extra time. Now, I think I'm going to get slated for this. I think a good plan is to have 11 playing outfield players. Okay, so 11 outfield players from Real Madrid and Liverpool. punt on Milner, stick him in your team, risk the fact that if he's on the pitch and they get a pen, he takes it. You risk it, and if he comes on tough, it's a final. The majority of players are going to get 2 and 3s, and if he doesn't come on, then your automatic subs happen anyway, and you get a Fabinho, a Casemiro. You've missed up all recovery points. Now, maybe not Fabinho, because I actually think he is ridiculously good at ball recoveries. And if Milner doesn't get on, Salah comes off for whatever reason, he's just came back from injury, then Fabinho's on pen. So maybe wouldn't do it for Fabinho. But that other, if you're thinking of playing 5 in midfield, or you've got that other midfield spot, or whatever you want to do, I think that is, because that's something I've been thinking about before I pressed my confirmed transfer. So this is either going to be a blessing or a curse, what I've just done, is actually going for the Liverpool player that was going to start on the bench. And then just, again, risk the fact, it's a free game, risk the fact that it could be cagey and tight and whatever, and then in the second half, they could come on and do the business. I've also thought, however, that with how Liverpool's season's gone, I think they're more likely to have a really strong first half and perhaps a weaker second, which probably doesn't suit that idea. But it's just an idea that I'd entertained in my mind. And if I was going to do that, then what were the contingencies that I needed? And that was one of them, to make sure that I had a player that would automatically come off the bench in case someone didn't come on. What do you think? How mental?
I think this is some kind of 3D chess, having really looking into the future and thinking about all these permutations and combinations is really crazy. But if it again, like, I can really sit here and say, if it comes off, then hats off to you, Dan. Like, and if it doesn't, oh God, you look like a fool, right? So
yeah.
why will
anyway, Nick? I've just made 4 of these 5 transfers.
The worst thing about Milner, though, going back to that, is that he loves to come on and then pick up the tactical foul for the team.
Yeah, he does like that.
He gets his yellow card, so he's probably going to start for you and get 0. He's going to come off the bench and get 0 points because he'll be yellow carded to kind of see out the 90. So there is that risk as well.
Yeah. I actually was thinking, I was just looking at the list and stuff. I was looking at some names, that there are some big names as well I don't know if they get a chance to play and stuff. Eden Hazard, 0% owned. Gareth Bale, 0% owned. Asensio is right in there as well, 1% owned. Asensio probably comes on if it goes over 90 minutes and stuff. But I don't know. Hazard, I don't know. Bale, last time, like, is he going to do it again in the Champions League final? Overhead kick.
Ridiculous. Have you seen the Goku memes where he's in the recuperation tank and it's Gareth Bale the Champions League final?
What do you think?
I think you made a really good point there, Nick, and far more sensible one than Aaron's nonsense about Milner that I definitely I don't know what you're talking about there, Aaron. Crazy. Get Nathan back on. I don't think Hazard and Bale will come on, just because when they needed goals in the previous rounds against Chelsea and against Man City, they were nowhere to be seen. Asensio, though, I think is a totally different matter, completely different kettle of fish. And he got a fortuitous assist, but he still got there, and he gets in the box, and he's a lively player, and he wants to make things happen. So I definitely think he is one. You know what? He could be that Milner player that, if maybe you like the idea of having a punt on someone that's going to come on and the game maybe go to extra time, and you don't want 74-year-old James Milner picking up a yellow card. Maybe you don't want that. I think Asensio is Real Madrid's answer to that.
I think Asensio is more the sexy pick, right? Like, at the end of the day,
and he is a very sexy man. So
yeah, I think if budget wasn't an issue, I'd probably like, given this particular scenario, I'd go Asensio. Yeah.
On to forwards. So I think there's only 6 playing forwards. So we've got Diaz, Jota, Firmino, Vinicius Junior, Benzema, and Rodrigo. How are you shaping up at the minute, Nick? What's your configuration there?
I think I already have the double of Benzema and Vini Junior, so that's already in place, and I don't plan to move Vini Junior out or anything. Like, my thinking is, getting whoever starts the game, Jota or Diaz. I mean, it could work out the other way as well. It happened that I think Diaz, was it Jota who started, but eventually Diaz came on and he got the goal and stuff, right?
That was
In
against
the last,
Villarreal. He changed the game. He changed the game, yeah.
absolutely. So, but I think I'll probably go whoever starts the game in the final, and I'm pretty sure I feel it's going to be Luis Diaz, and he looks like a big game player. He's not afraid of taking defenders on 1-to-1 dribbling wise. So I really like him, and I've not owned him at all in UCL fantasy. So I was like one of those managers like you. I think everybody saw the Liverpool team lineup and stuff, and saw, I think in one of the match days Diaz was starting, and all of them went for Diaz, and I didn't have him, and I think he got 12 points or something, like 12 or 13 points, and I was like, yeah, I should have got him. I should have, So I'm going to not risk it this time, and if he starts, I'm definitely going Luis Diaz.
If Jota starts, are you going to go Jota? Are you going to stick with Diaz and hope that he comes on? And
that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I've not thought on that particular topic too much. Maybe that's something. Maybe, I mean, you've technically sort of convinced me in a way that the game could go into extra time and stuff. And imagine, Real Madrid defenders, both of them in the second half, all tired, worn out and stuff. And imagine a Luis Diaz coming on for 30-35 minutes against that. That could be really interesting. So that's something to ponder upon. And I feel it also makes sense to see how Liverpool line up in attack. Like, does Jota start in the middle, or does he, or Mane, does he start in the middle and stuff? So that's something to look for. But I really feel, I have a feeling Diaz starts, and
yeah.
Given his form and stuff, and given what he's done in the recent games and stuff, I feel I would not have to choose. In that sense.
I agree. I think Luis Diaz will be on the left, Mane up front, and Salah on the right. Although you never know with Klopp.
Yeah.
The one thing what I would say is, if I think the sentimental pick would actually be to have Jota or Firmino up front.
Oh yeah.
But we saw as complete. Actually, no, Origi was injured at the weekend, wasn't he? So there was literally couldn't be sentimental with Origi to stick him on at 3-1 or even 1-1. So it depends on how Klopp feels. Maybe he feels his unfinished business with Real Madrid and therefore wants to go with a similar from 3 that started the last game that got beat 3-1, or if he feels, Jota's been there all season, he deserves it. I am in agreement with you, and it's pointless overthinking the lineup because we'll see it. But it's just for other people, don't make a transfer too early because that could sit you. I mean, either way, I think I'll keep Luis Diaz in because I think 100% whether he starts or not gets on the pitch, and I'd be confident with him once he's on there. If anything, I'm kind of hoping Jota starts, because my dream scenario is Jota starts, plays a bit, then Diaz comes on and then wipes the floor. That's it, but everyone's gone Jota at the start with, and that's the differential. So that's now what I'm hoping for.
That's your way into the top 1K, like 3-digit rank.
Again, anything can happen. Klopp will just play Diaz, man, Salah in the dream will be dead. I also have Benzema and Vinicius Junior. I'm not moving away from them. They are Real Madrid's best players, they're the most dangerous players. Aaron, what about you up front? What you thinking? What you got?
No, I'm thinking the pretty much identical. Bringing in Diaz somehow, but just having a look at Ancelotti's comments over the weekend after the match. Over the weekend, he said that Rodrigo will probably start.
Yeah, I saw that last week. He said that the front three will be Junior, Benzema, and Rodrigo. If they're fit, they're playing.
So Rodrigo 4% owned. I think in my position, I've got nothing to lose. So that makes it really interesting, especially if I do choose to go Alisson and goal. Rodrigo could be a good shout. But it is between Diaz, Rodrigo for me on who that third striker is. I'm not considering Jota, which will probably come back to bite me, but he's not too highly owned, so I don't know if people around me would have him. So for me, Diaz or Rodrigo, depending on how spicy I'm feeling on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with Aaron. Like Rodrigo is at 4% owned. He's only 8.1. He got like 9 points like in the last game. Like saved Real Madrid when it was required, and I think that's your spicy differential right there. If there was one, because Jota, Diaz both can start the game. If they don't do well, can come off on the 60th minute, and that's 2 points. And Rodrigo can get a goal and stuff. So that's where like anybody who's looking to climb rank and stuff, I think Rodrigo is a very good pick. But for somebody who's happy or content with their overall rank right now, I think Luis Diaz. Given we'll see the lineups anyways, whoever starts is the pick.
Nick, I'll go through Nathan's draft team. So at the minute, got Alisson in goal. He's got Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk in defence, with Mendy and Militao on the bench.
Wow.
He's got Salah, who currently has the captain's armband. Whether that's an actual thing or not, I don't know, because he might just not change. Fabinho, Mane, Casemiro in midfield, with Modric on the bench. And he's got Benzema, Junior, Diaz up front. That's his draft. He's not been stupid enough to press confirm, so it is just a draft. And I've just gone with what he's shown me, so I don't know if that's how he's planned on lining up. I mean, Casemiro ahead of Modric. Not sure about that at all. But outrageously template, as we all know it's going to be.
Yeah. I think I have a feeling, and it's going to be it's going to come down to captaincy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be between Benzema and Mo Salah. And I have a feeling, and I just looked at the numbers and stuff generally with Benzema. Benzema scored 4 out of 5, like 4 in 5 games versus Liverpool. In all the previous meetings, Benzema's been the best player in La Liga this season, hands down.
Yeah,
he's got penalties in his locker as well. And then Salah recently, in the last few game weeks, it's a bit down. Like he was destined for beating all the records, the way he was going at the start of the season, right? But I feel my heart says Benzema. Captaincy wise, Nathan, if you're hearing, if you're listening, let's see. It's probably going to be between that. If Mane could be a good pick as well, captaincy pick as well, because I feel in the big games, especially, Mane pops up always. Mane is there getting that odd goal initially in the first half and stuff. And I feel if Mane is I always have this inkling towards Riyad Mahrez, especially the Champions League.
Yeah.
So every Champions League Man City plays, I always get Riyad Mahrez in, because he's like this player who's very streaky, and if he's on it, he'll get you the goals no matter how. And Mane is very similar in a way, and those are the 3 players I'm sort of looking at for captaincy. I think you said Nathan's currently on Salah, right? So
currently
on Salah. So it could be really interesting, depending, because I'm pretty sure both our teams are going to be 95% very similar.
Yeah.
So it depends on eventually what formation he goes with the split of Liverpool defense and Real Madrid defense, and the same with midfield. I feel midfield is going to be pretty similar, and forward lineup as well, and eventually it does come down to captaincy. So let's see.
I like the Mane shout, especially if he plays up front. I just think he's so dangerous. If he can keep himself on side, he's so dangerous in that position. Whereas I think if he starts on the left, I'd immediately rule that out. It's just petrifying going against Benzema.
I mean,
just a machine this season, and I'm really, really scared of him. And I kind of feel like if you're not going to captain Benzema, half of his things just don't have him. Punt. So yeah, I don't know. But for me, it's between Benzema and Mane. Salah doesn't get it ahead of Benzema. So it's just how I'm feeling about Mane's position. He gets an extra point for scoring. If they do keep a clean sheet, which probably won't, get an extra point for that. But you're right, Benzema wins pens, take pens. It's just a flip of a coin between those two, I think, for favourites. Aaron, who are you thinking about for captain?
I just remember the final a couple of years ago. Benzema scored and Mane scored. So
yeah.
It's kind of pick your poison. But no, something thinking back to last year, I was kicking myself as soon as the deadline passed that I didn't captain Kante. Ball recovery points, because a lot of people are going to have 2 and 3 points, and going for the safety points ends up being a differential.
The master of the dark arts, yeah.
So
you call yourself a Christian, Aaron.
So captaining like a defensive midfielder who could pick up a yellow card, that's always the risk, but it's a safe ball recovery point, which might work out. Because we know that not many goals are scored in finals, so it's only going to be 1 assist. It's only probably 1 goal, and so the ball recoveries might be where it's at. I had a look as well. I had a look through the previous finals and who the player of the matches normally are.
Centre mids, I imagine. Kante.
The year before was Kingsley Coman, because he was the only goal scorer. The year before that was Van Dijk. And then the year before that was Gareth Bale when he came on against Liverpool. So it makes it interesting, I think. As we said, though, both teams will probably score. It just depends by how, like, I can see when I was thinking about it on the way home from work today, I was thinking that it's going to be 3-2 to Liverpool. That's my prediction. So that's last year, Aaron kicking himself about not captaining Kante, because that would have been 6 points I think he got, compared to who I think I captained someone else who I thought would score, not Havertz, basically.
Imagine a Man City midfielder.
Mahrez.
Yeah, it was actually Mahrez. It was Mahrez. And then but this year I've got to try and climb the ranks. So I need to do someone different. Dan, you said
Mane is different enough,
Yeah, so Dan, you said if you don't captain Benzema, don't have him. I've literally just confirmed the transfer. He's out. No, I'm joking. I'm not that brave.
What kind of idiot would do that?
But no, I think I've got to go against Benzema. And so Mane was my thinking. If I don't go Mane, I'm actually going to go Robertson.
Ooh.
Oh, I love to see it, Aaron. I love to see it.
Oh, wow.
So ball recovery points and potentially assist. And he's been getting into the box a lot more. Against Carvajal and against not Vinicius, I think he'll have a better shout. So that is my
Wow.
It's either going to be one of them two. So I'll see how that goes on Saturday.
That's brave. That I've got a lot of time for that, Aaron. Like this is so not like you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, probably if Aaron was like in the top 1K, 2K, he'd probably not go there. Like
He's great on Benzema.
I completely agree with his reasoning. If it's do or die, right? Like if you get it right, there's a big rank rise, and you finish strong. But I mean, I love the Robertson pick as captain. Could do really well. I mean, I assume you didn't want to go Trent probably because of Vinicius, right? Like he's going to be up against Vinicius and stuff, and Robbo's going to be on the easier side. That makes sense. I think just to add two more points for Karim Benzema, just to put my point, if you are not convinced. I mean, one, the final is in Paris. That's even though it's in Paris, it's his home country as well. He's going back to where he's come from, his own roots. The other thing here is he's on 15 goals right now, and he's just 2 goals behind Cristiano Ronaldo's all-time record of 17 goals ever in a champion. I don't know if he's somebody like that who looks at the numbers and records and stuff, and that's something that could play on his mind. And I really feel probably the thinking is everything for Real Madrid. All the matches I've watched so far this season, everything goes through Karim Benzema. And if he's not there and he's not on song, Real Madrid don't do well. So and that's sort of a player I eventually want to captain for double points. So that's my thinking. But I mean, if you want to go for Andrew Robertson, I'm like all for it. If to climb rank and stuff, it could really, if he does well, gets a goal, who knows? Could really
and if they do
well.
somehow keep a clean sheet, then that is huge as well. But I don't expect it. That'll just be a bonus.
The interesting thing is that Nick, you're going 3-1 on Liverpool defense, but captain the Real Madrid striker.
Yeah. It is the final, right? At the end.
Yeah, proper edge and bet. I think both of you guys are so clear. Nick, you're in the top 1,000. Edge away, edge everything. 50-50, 60-40, whatever it is, edge.
Yeah.
Aaron, you're a little bit further behind. Not quite in obscurity, but like you're around there. Like bet, like gamble, put your eggs in a basket, cross your fingers and support that team. I'm just outside the 1,000, which is like respectable with a whisper. But I've been in the top 1,000 all the way through until like the last couple of weeks. And it's like, I can get in there, but if I'm too safe, I won't. But if I go too mental, my rank could make me look rubbish at this game.
Can I just add? I really feel for you, Daniel. Like you've had a tremendous season, and if there was an opportunity for me to give you 2 points or something from myself, and we can both finish in the top 1K, like 999 is fine as well.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I would do that because I think you've had a tremendous season, and for you to be, like I think last match they didn't go according to plan, and that's the only I think low point, right? The whole
I had
season.
the one game week, and I blame pina coladas, was when I was on holiday and I was not sober, but I wasn't drunk. But when you've had 2 and you've got no inhibitions and you think going Thomas Muller over Karim Benzema is a good idea.
Oh yeah,
I'm seeing so clearly now through this run.
I really hope you
that week killed. Like even by half time, I looked at the scores at half time. I was in a pool, looked at the scores at half time, turned my phone off, put it away. I was like, I'm not allowing this to ruin my holiday, because by half time, Havertz had scored, Danjuma had scored, Benzema had popped in a brace. I was melting on the inside, so I had to go and get a daiquiri. It was that one game week not only killed me in terms of how many points got to compare to how many points I would have had if I didn't even make a change versus if I just put Benzema in as well. But I was chasing my tail. got to get Danjuma back in. Got to do this. Got to like constantly trying to put fires out instead of everyone else at that level was getting to attack the game week, and I'm defending for my life. And yeah, it just went badly. But I mean, it's a lesson learned. Like, usually myself and Aaron do better in the knockouts and not so well in the groups. Did amazingly in the groups this year. Poor in the knockouts.
I've done well in the knockouts, just not so bad in the group stage. Because I think I've climbed like 95,000 rank in the knockout. It's actually ridiculous.
So yeah, it's just one of those things where I think one of my issues is that a lot more prevalent on Twitter now, listening to a lot of people, lots of voices, and I kind of forgot to play it how I normally play it for the quarterfinals and for the semi-finals and for the round of 16. And then Aaron made a point on the podcast. He made 2 or 3 points. And all it was the point that we'd made since our very first podcasts. Like, pick players on the first night. Don't necessarily pick the player itself. Maybe pick the team. Like, little things. I was just like, I've totally lost sight of how I like to play it because of all this noise that it's no one's fault. It's my fault because I'm responsible for my team. I listen. It's up to me that I press the button. So
man, we're running out of time.
I love speaking to people. But yeah. I think we want to wrap it up there, gents, just because we've got less than a minute. So everyone follow Nick at FPL Rossoneri Nick. Follow Aaron, follow UCL Fantasy Pod. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple,
everywhere.
Google. We're everywhere, literally everywhere. Billboards in Times Square. We are there. Best of luck for the final, everyone. Nick, thank you so much for jumping on. I really, really appreciate it, mate. We will see you all next time and next season as well. So we'll see you then. And best luck for the final as well, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
The winner. There will be a prize, whether it's you or Nathan. So best of luck.
Okay. Cheers, guys.